Arturo Monedero is here, so we can start now. Hello everybody, it's a big pleasure to be with all of you today in the first day of Gamescom. This event is the first opportunity for our project to be in an international event, so thank you so much to ICEX and Games from Spain to invite us to this event in Gamescom. It's a big opportunity for us, and today you have a special meeting with our pet Gali, the pet for accessible video games of Once Fundación. So let's get started. Who am I? My name is Enrique García Cortés, but everybody call me Kike in the video games industry, so I am Kike for you too. I studied graduate in computer engineer, and I have a master's degree in IT project management. In this moment, I am doing a PhD in integrated care and health services, and every day I work as accessible technologies technician in Once Fundación. Once Fundación is a company to get equal opportunities for people with disability, and I work in the Universal Accessibility and Innovation Department in this case. But today I am the responsible of the project Accessible Video Games Gali. But how did I get started with video games or in the world of video games? In my case, one afternoon in my cousin's home, they played Kingdom Hearts in PlayStation 2, and I thought that I can't play video games, but they give me the controller and I tested, and I discovered that the video games was an option for me to get social skills or to get friends in other way. So it was really good for me when I discovered that I can play video games, and now a lot of years in the future, I am the responsible of a project with video games, so it's really good, and I really love to be or to participate in this video games industry. I don't know if you play something in this first day of Gamescom, but I have a game for you, so please, Christian, change the screen because I have a Kahoot. And I have some gifts for the winner and maybe for the others as well, so please. A special advice: if you are smart, don't trust me. I am waiting for you, so please play with me. Come on, Gamescom, play with me. Abraham, please play with me. Yes, of course. Maybe not. Come on, play with me. I am waiting for you. Maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, between 11, 12. Don't put emojis, please. Please put the name. The emoji is not accessible in this presentation. Okay, everybody in the game. Yeah? Abraham, are you in the game? No? Come on, please. Okay, so Christian, 3, 2, 1. For accessibility, I am going to read the questions and answers. Meeting Gali in Gamescom. What is accessibility? Triangle, all doors open. Diamond, all free. Cycle, ensuring universal design in environment, products and services. Square, having help for everything. Oh. In this case, like a test, the correct one is the long. Be careful with people with disability, because if you think that we need help for everything, people with disability is going to ask you everything, so be careful, because that is not a correct answer. So please continue. Next. What is the most correct way to say it? Triangle, functional diversity. Diamond, people with disabilities. Cycle, disabled people. Square, invalid. Oh! Always the same. In Germany, in Spain, always the same. Everybody thinks that the correct answer is functional diversity, but everybody in this room are functional diversity. But I am a person with disabilities because I have barriers in environment, products and services. I am an armless person, and I always will be an armless person. But if everybody, environments, products and services are accessible for me, I am not a person with disabilities, so it's important that we work to get an accessible environment, products and services, because I think that my arms don't grow up, I think. I don't know. So next. True or false? I know the accessibility standards. Diamond, true. Triangle, false. Is a pool. Don't worry, it's a pool. Okay. Raise your hand, someone that put true in the answer, please. Give me a standard, please. Some standards for accessibility are EN 3055, no, sorry, EN 301549. That is the requirement for accessibility in ICT, and it's the principal regulation in this moment to talk about accessibility in technology. So that is one of the different standards that we have in Europe to talk about accessibility. Continue, please. People with disabilities cannot use video games. Triangle, true. Diamond, false. Cycle, it depends. Square, the blind can't. Always the same. In Germany, in Spain, in everywhere, people think that the video games are accessible, and if the video games are accessible, I am not here because I don't have anything to tell you. So it depends the software or the hardware in video games. In that case, people with disability can play video games or not. So it depends. Continue. Ojo, di bueno. Continue. True or false? Have I ever used accessibility in a video game? It's a pull. Diamond true, triangle false. Okay. 6 true. Raise your hand and tell me the different accessibility measures. Sam. We are going to give you a micro, I think. In this moment, I have several problems to listen to you because we have a lot of noise in the... Oh no. Okay, so continue, please. Wait, Christian, wait. Sam is telling me accessibility measure related with the high contrast, because in some video games you can put it special colors to the different elements, like enemies in red or objects in yellow, and that accessibility measures called high contrast in this case. So that is one. Another.
So I was in like a fair with people. I don't know if you know this foundation. It's called Atades. It's from Zaragoza, my hometown, and they were exposing us to like different disabilities that people may have and how they adapted. Like me myself, I took part in one for like the blind people. So it was basically like a guided thing, so you would not see, and it was also like kind of making people understand how other people would see or how would they play. So it was my experience.
Okay, thank you so much. Anything else? No? 6 person put it through. Okay, continue please. A support product is triangle, NVDA, diamond talkback, cycle, jaws, square, all. What is Iñaki? NVDA, jaws. It's all because NVDA, JAWS, and TalkBack are different screen readers for blind people in different technologies as computers, mobile phones, between others. So please, next. Awesome. This is getting interesting. In which phase is it the best to include accessibility? Triangle, requirements and design, diamond, programming, cycle, quality, square, doesn't matter. Requirements and design is the best phase in when you develop a video game to include accessibility, because you plan the different things related with accessibility feature in databases, in other resources that the video games need. So it's important that you have a planification about your accessibility in the requirements and design phase. Continue, please. A peripheral for people with disability is triangle, Horiflex, diamond access, cycle, all, square, Xbox adaptive controller. I am not going to say anything because we are talking about this later. Okay, next. Oh. True or false? I have worked with people with disabilities. Diamond true, triangle false. Kike is not valid in this question. Okay, continue. People with disabilities can compete in esports. Triangle true, diamond false, cycle, it depends. Square, what are esports? Okay. I hope you learned in the past the same questions with video games. In this case, the same questions with esports. It depends of different things that... Continue, please. The last question. Double points. What is the video game with the most accessibility measures today? Triangle, The Last of Us Part 2, Diamond, Tekken 8, Cycle, The Last of Us Part 1 Remake, or Square, Forza Horizon 5? Come on. Is The Last of Us. Everybody, please wait. Everybody think that The Last of Us Part 2 is the best accessible video game at the moment, but The Last of Us Part 1 Remake is the most accessible video game in this moment with more than 80 accessibility features. So the winner is third position for Anna. Applause. Laura. And the winner is Diana. No. So you are come back to the presentation, please, and now you are going to discover the different gifts at the end of the session, okay? But now I am going to talk about different things of my company in this case. We are ONCE social group. ONCE gets money in Spain by lottery. Everybody in the society buy lottery, and with that money the company helps people with disability to have the equal opportunities in the society. But it's important to say that in this case ONCE is only for visual disability or visual impairments, and 36 years ago ONCE created ONCE Fundación, that is my company, and we work for all the disabilities, visual, auditive, physical and cognitive disability. That is the difference. But ONCE social group has other company called Ilunion. Ilunion is our business group, and the difference between other business is that 56% of the employees have a disability. If nobody want to give us employment, so because of our condition of disability, we are trying to resolve this, created a lot of employment or a lot of jobs in Ilunion in this case, and we're trying to promote the employment for people with disabilities in ONCE social group, and that is the difference. ONCE sell lottery and help people with visual impairments or visual disability. ONCE Fundación is my company, and we help people with all kind of disabilities, and Ilunion is the business group, and the 56% of the employees have a disability in this case. So please continue. Continue. Yeah, sorry. In this case, ONCE Fundación of our mission of ONCE Fundación is contribute to the full social inclusion of people with disabilities helping to make effective the principle of equal opportunities and non-discrimination. 11 Fundations share with 11 different values like trust, honesty, respect, commitment, professionalism, and responsibility. But I have some more data for you, so enjoy the video. Please play the first video, Christian. Enjoy.
What is the ONCE Foundation? A lot of people can answer that question. Highlights include 83,734 people with disabilities who have found work with us, or perhaps the 151,522 people we have trained, or the 5,646 grants we have awarded over the last 10 years. Notably, we have carried out more than 71,300 universal accessibility actions since our inception. The ONCE Foundation was founded in 1988 with the aim of improving the lives of people living with disability. It was created by ONCE, the main contributor of the ONCE Foundation's income. Our objectives: training, employment, and universal accessibility. We are striving to achieve these objectives alongside leading organisations for people with disabilities, which sit on our Board of Trustees. We also rely on the unflinching support of many Spanish and European companies, universities and institutions, all of which aid us as we continue to advance towards a more inclusive society. Our partnership with the European Social Fund, which co-finances our training and employment projects, also makes us stronger. Our energy is the talent of people with disabilities. Building a more accessible world makes us more equal when it comes to rights and opportunities. The ONCE Foundation, our engine, the enthusiasm, and our energy, the talent of people.
That is our company, and 5 years ago the Xbox Adaptive Controller appeared in my office, and I had the pleasure with my colleague Natalie to manage the user test for the first time of this device in our country. In that moment we discovered that we can improve soft skills for people with disabilities to get better training, good employment for this kind of people, because if they improve their social skills like responsibility or adapt to changes between others, is important, because everybody learn this kind of soft skills in life, but sometimes it's really difficult for people with disabilities to get these kind of soft skills, because we can, in my case for example, I can't play in a park with other children, so in my case I learn soft skills when I can play video games or other things. So it's important that people understand that it's important, the soft skills in today, and we are trying to improve these soft skills with video game, and for that reason we create Gali 5 years ago, and now we are going to watch a video again with Gali and with English subtitles. Please, Christian, when you can. Creo que la ilusión es lo que siempre supera todo, y la verdad es que yo he vivido este proyecto con muchísima ilusión, porque lo hemos preparado siempre con muchas ganas y con mucha responsabilidad de que las personas con discapacidad en los videojuegos tengan algún tipo de conexión.
La verdad que me parece súper necesario, porque creo que todas las personas deberían tomar conciencia de que los videojuegos inclusivos son una necesidad real de nuestra industria.
Que al final los videojuegos es algo que está presente en las vidas de mucha gente, así que me parece una idea fantástica y necesaria.
La verdad es que me gustaría que Gali fuera el símbolo que representara la inclusión de los videojuegos, y que todo el mundo, cuando fuera a una feria o fuera a algún sitio y viera a Gali, dijera: oye, mira, ahí se encuentran los videojuegos adaptados o los videojuegos accesibles. El objetivo que nos hemos puesto es que para final de año debe haber 100 videojuegos subidos a este catálogo, para que las personas puedan consultarlos y disponer de ellos.
Lo que supone este proyecto para el mundo del gaming y de los eSports es que haya más espacios donde la gente tenga contacto con los videojuegos inclusivos.
La industria pues también ha acogido el proyecto muy bien, nos han dejado muchos periféricos, videojuegos para que evaluemos su accesibilidad, son receptivos a la hora de incorporar medidas.
Como Como director de AEBI lo que he sentido sobre todo es orgullo, es alegría, el poder estar más cerca de todo el mundo, el hacer que el videojuego llegue a todas las personas por igual y que se nos conozca por eso, por ser una industria que de verdad se esfuerza por ser cada vez más accesible.
Y ser conscientes de que los videojuegos tienen que ser para todo el mundo.
An applause please, because when I remember this day, to be honest, I suffered a lot in Once Foundation that day in the presentation of Gali, but 2 years after that event we are here, so everything is okay. And the main product of Gali in the presentation, you can see a website. We have a website in Spanish at the moment. In this website we have our main product is a special library when we include different analysis for accessible video games for indie studios or big studios, and we analyze the accessibility in an objective mode, and we put what is the different profiles and the different platforms for these video games. And it's really important for us because a lot of blind people said in Twitter when we put an analysis in Gali that they know in that moment that they go to the shop to buy the video game because it's for them. So it's important to give the information about accessibility, and we are trying to put the focus in this information about video games because we can't find the information in Box or in other websites. So we are trying to give the information for people with and without disabilities about accessibility, and it's our main product inside the website. We have other sections like news, devices or events, and now we are working in 3 new sections called Gali Friends, Gali Media and Gali Dictionary for intellectual people to understand what is the different words in the video games industry. So this year we will publish the 3 sections, Gali Friends, Gali Media and Gali Dictionary for everybody. If we continue, our project have 4 parts. The first one is training and employment, and we are trying to put accessibility in the schools and academies to get comfortable the courses and the different resources in the academies to get different competencies in the video games industry like design, programming, between others, and we are trying to get unemployment, and we work with different companies with our division called in Spanish Inserta. We are trying to get a pool of companies and a pool of candidates, and we create the connection between the company and the candidate, respect the rights between the candidate and the company, because sometimes the companies look for talent with disability to get a fiscal benefit in our country, and then they don't give any special task to that employee with disability. So it's a pity and it's a really problem. So we try that everybody with disability have a good employment, a good job in our country and in Europe, and that is the first one. The second one, we work with PlayStation, Microsoft, Xbox, Nintendo, between others, and indie studios too, to ensure the accessibility measures in the different products, video games and consoles, and we work every day in different marketing campaigns, between other things. Awareness, the third one, is so funny because we enjoyed a lot in different events with our challenges and in our summer camps, but I am going to tell you later. And finally, esports is the competitive part of this industry, and we are trying to look for the spot for people with disability in this part of the industry, but in this moment is complicated, related with laws or different standards, because the technology is prepared for people with disabilities to compete, but the legal laws and the standard is not prepared to recognize 3 million of euros to a blind winner. So we need to work in that part and not in the technology part. We are going to talk a little bit more about awareness. We do an important work in this part. We do in the societies to raise awareness in events. If people with disability come, we show them that thanks to the accessibility they can play games like Fall Guys, Mario Kart 8, between others, Tekken 8. And if someone without disability comes, we simulate a temporary difficulty for them to understand the barriers and how accessibility helps themselves, a family member or a friend. In the next video you can discover our challenges, maybe with a max playing only with elbows or only with a hand. The challenge and presentation that we did in the different events in Spain. And please, Christian, play the last video of today with music. Also, we work with different content creators to get a big speaker, not only in our events, also in our summer camps. Last month we finished our summer camps. In this case, we did a summer camp in Málaga, Valencia and Zaragoza, 3 cities of Spain. A week full of activities with lessons about technologies, gaming competitions, amusement parks, everything to promote soft skills in young people with disability and without disability. It's really important for us, the communication between people with disabilities and without disabilities. As I told you, this year we celebrated 4 editions, 1 in spring in Madrid and 4 in summer. And in the future, I hope that the summer camps go to different cities, maybe in Europe, or we don't know. Currently, 15% of the world's population has a disability, but sorry, I have bad news for you, because according to World Health Organization, in 2050, 50% of the people in the world will have a disability by birth or acquired. For this reason, accessibility is most promoted in all industries, also in video games, but in video games, they discovered that people with disability have money. Not only for guide dogs or myorthetics or wheelchairs, no, we have money to buy video games. So the different companies said, okay, the accessibility is really important now because we want your money. So we have, it's really important, and people with disability get a better situation for this reason related to 2050 in the future. But it was important in the past when people with disability need it, but maybe the companies said different excuses about accessibility and inclusion, and now it's something for everybody. And in this case, the accessibility is for everybody. So it's really important for all the people, and we're trying to promote in every industry. So it's the inclusion wave. The inclusion wave starts, so come on, everybody. Accessibility, if you let me read, is the condition that environments, processes, goods, products, and services as well as objects, instrument, tools, and devices must need to be understandable, usable, and practicable by all people in conditions of safety and comfort, and in the most autonomous and natural way possible. As I said you before, I work in the Universal Accessibility and Innovation Department at ONCE Fundación, and in my company we work accessibility in other things, not only technology. This department works with physical environment, innovation and research, maybe with robots, artificial intelligence, between other technologies or other innovation technologies. And finally, independence life. It's an important department because in this moment it's promoting different projects like assistant dogs or maybe personal assistant. With me here is Abraham, and he is with me to cover the different daily tasks that I can't do myself. So he helped me to do this kind of thing, and it's really important for people with disability, and it's really important that you include the thought in your life that maybe in the future you need a personal assistant, or you are a personal assistant, why not? So it's important that we change our minds and open the minds to personal assistants in this case. So it's really important, and we work in technology, physical environment, innovation and research, and independence life. Here you are the last video games released with accessibility measures for each console brand. Rise of the Ronin and Stellar Blade for PlayStation, Senua Saga Hellblade 2 for Microsoft Xbox, and Everybody Switch by Nintendo. In this case, Everybody Switch is a good video game for blind people because you have to listen to different sounds to play. So it's really important that blind people can play in this audiovisual industry. So Everybody Switch is a good example for people with disability, but Tekken 8 is other good example. Fighting games are good example for blind people because in the different attacks, the character shout a different sound, so blind people can detect the different sounds and the different attacks in that case. Okay, so in visual impairment, people are not blind people only, also people with low vision, blind spots, peripheral vision, or problems. And screen readers, we have screen readers, and you have to use screen readers in different mobile phones, TVs, or video games. You have a screen reader in your mobile phones. If you have an Android, the screen reader called Talkback, but if you have an iPhone or iOS phone, the screen reader called VoiceOver. So you have a screen reader in your mobile phone. Now it is not the moment because it will be crazy, all your phone speaks with notifications, secrets or whatever, but I invite you to test the screen reader one time in your life because it's a good experience, I think. Hearing impairment, the most important accessibility measure for this profile is subtitles and visual or haptic notification. As I said before, it's the moment that said remember, because accessibility is for everybody, because maybe you have a lot of noise in your room and you have to put the subtitles, or your TV is so far and you need to increase the letters, and maybe you don't have a disability, and that is accessibility. For accessibility is for everybody, and it's important that we take into account with this example because everybody uses accessibility every day and maybe they didn't know. Respect physical or motor disabilities needs. We have different devices and modifiers. Modifiers is an accessibility feature that I love because with modifiers you can press the button many times when you do an attack, or maybe you keep the button pressed to do the same actions in the video games. So I can press the button a lot of times, or I keep the button pressed to do the same thing, and it's really useful for people with physical disability, I think, and it's really important. The accessibility measure called modifiers, okay? And final profile is cognitive impairments. In this case, we have plain language and skip puzzles. Everybody can do plain language because it's contract the sentence to subject plus verb plus complement, but we have a more level called easy reading. Easy reading is for people with intellectual disability, but we can't do easy reading because to do easy reading we need an extra validation with people with intellectual disability, and it's a validation that okay, we understand, so the easy reading is checked, but we can't do easy reading, but we can do plain language, subject plus verb plus complement, and then skip different puzzles. For example, in Spider-Man in PlayStation, the video game has an electric circuit puzzle, maybe, and sometimes it's really complex to intellectual disability, so it's important to skip the puzzle because I think that these kind of people want to continue swinging through New York and not resolve the electric puzzle. So it's important that the video games include this kind of skip puzzles or other accessibility measure that is not easy for the player, it's only customization inside the video game. There are a lot of accessibility measures like audio description, camera shakes and movement, color adjustment, letter and background contrast ratios, subtitles, volumes, sign language. Sign language is really expensive. It's really expensive because we have to recording all the sign language in every language for each country. So it's really expensive, in this case the sign language. We have a good example about sign language is Forza Horizon 5. It's the first video game in the industry that includes sign language in this case. And we have other like for physical like auto-aiming or aim assist to shooters, for example, between others. And for intellectual cognitive, route indicators, tutorials, between others. So please, are game consoles accessible? Raise your hand if you think that game consoles are accessible, please. Anybody? Depends. Maybe it depends. Raise your hand if you think that PlayStation 5 is accessible. Come on, please. Okay. Raise your hand if you think Xbox Series is accessible. Okay. And raise your hand if you think that Nintendo Switch is accessible. In this moment, related with software level, PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series are in the same level. PlayStation 5 has invert colors, color correction, text size, bold text, high contrast, screen reader, closed caption, between others. And Xbox have a screen reader, magnifier, closed caption, audio, and high contrast, between others. But as accessible video games technician, I need to be objective, and in this case, Nintendo Switch in this moment is the less accessible console because only have control customization for the Joy-Cons and anything else, but Nintendo said that they don't need it because they sell a lot of Marios, a lot of Pokemons, and they don't need it. But it's true that Nintendo Spain is really grateful with us and they collaborated with us in a lot of things, so thank you Nintendo Spain, wherever you are. So that's it. These kind of devices are not an option for everybody. As I told you, the first devices in the industry was Xbox Adaptive Controller, and Microsoft released this kind of gadgets to connect with Xbox Adaptive Controller to many disabilities or physical disabilities. So this is the new release, or maybe we have a surprise in Gamescom with with Xbox maybe. Next, Horiflex is the brand Ori, licensed by Nintendo and cost 300 euros, and Xbox Active Controller cost 90 euros. A Quad Stick is a device to use with mouse and cost 400 euros, $400, but it's really useful for people with a little mobility. And then Tobii Eye Tracker is a device that controls the movement of your eye, so it's really funny. And we created different competitions with Tobii Eye Tracker, playing Clash Royale or Counter-Strike, where everybody with disabilities and without disability play with Tobii Eye Tracker in an inclusive competition. The final, at the moment, is Access Controller, the new device for PlayStation 5, and we have the opportunity to present the device with the company in Spain, and we test the device with different disabilities, and we travel a lot in the first month of this year, presenting the controller for different cities in our country, Spain. We have other kind of things related with accessibility, in this kind of simulator by the brand Ford, created this special simulator to test driving video games for people with disability in this case, and we have one in our company and we test every day with different people. And finally, our game is here in Gamescom in the Hall 9, I think. It's a special jacket with haptic feelings, and it's a good example of accessibility because it's a new connection, not visual or audio, it's haptic, sorry, and you can touch or you can feel the different things in your body when someone in the video game shoot or other things. In esports, we are doing a special research into the role of disability in the world, inclusive tournament, stadiums, content creators, international sign language, audio description, etc. And the team KPI broadcast its matches with international sign language for the first time in esports. So maybe if you see League of Legends, Valorant or other competition, you can see an international sign language in the bottom right corner on the screen. Gali news in Gamescom. We have 4 Gali news. Proteus BioWave's new accessible controller for Xbox, and I think that the controller will be a special role in Gamescom, maybe tomorrow. Tomorrow I have more information about this, so stay tuned ahí, pendientes todos. The second news, the haptic belt accessibility for driving video games. Salim, a visually impaired gamer, managed to play a driving video games thanks to Optic 2000's haptics belt initiative, and it's really helped to play video games. I think it's really important to complement Forza Horizon 5 with this kind of device, because Forza Horizon is the first video game that blind people can play related with driving, and I think it's a good opportunity. The third one, Reed Speaker has announced the availability of its innovative SDK. It's an SDK for different accessibility measures related with voice synthesis. So I think that the accessibility in Nintendo Switch is growing up with this kind of complements, and maybe in the future we can speak with Nintendo Switch to do different things. And the last one, Gali welcomes different studios at Gamescom. Thank you so much everybody that invite us to have a meeting or to learn about accessibility in Gamescom. So it's really important, and thank you so much to call us or to invite us to this presentation or to these different meetings. We have 11 meetings, I don't know. My company called 11, 11 is 11 in Spanish, so I don't know, it's some kind of trick, I don't know. And finally, about training and employment, I am really proud because last year we published a white paper, Accessibility for Developers, with Arturo Monedero that is here, and I am proud to have this book with him. In this moment we have more than 2,000 downloads between this year and the last year, and now we are working in different versions. You can find our book in Spanish, English and Catalan, but we are working in other versions like Portuguese and Italian. And in the back cover on our book they said, this is not just for people with disability, accessibility is something for everyone. Promoting inclusion in video games is our responsibility, and here begins your journey to help us achieve it. So, thank you so much to listen to me, and if you have some question, I am here for you. Thank you. Se terminó, gracias a todos. Thank you so much.